Hey everybody, it's Friday night. What am I doing on Facebook Live anyway at 10 o'clock on Friday night? Well, my son's asleep and I'm thinking about the capo. I just want to start a conversation, and I did have some interesting ways to decide where to put the capo, but people ask a lot, like, where do I put the capo, or how do I put the capo? So I'm only going to be talking today about the top string and sort of how to decide where to put the capo. You know the G chord. So the G chord is just a G chord if you play it in open position. So it's pretty easy if you understand the notes on the top string to know where to put the capo if you wanted to play like in a different key. So if you're playing in G, then that's a G chord. Okay, but if you put let's say you put the capo on the first fret, and this is my old capo. I have better Kaiser capos, but I don't know where they went. But that's if you put the capo on the first fret, then your G moves up a half step. So this would now be a G sharp or an A flat. And if you put it on the second fret, then you move the G up 2, which would be, now the G would actually be an A. Okay, so you just how you kind of understand that is by understanding the root notes on the top string. So this note right here is the 5th fret, and it's really an A. So I'll give you and I'll maybe put it in the comments below too, the top notes of the top E string. So E is the root. See, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. Okay, so that's your C note. C sharp, D, D sharp, E. The 12th fret is your octave. So we're talking basically about the low E string, and knowing every note on the low E string all the way down to the 12th fret. So you have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. I'll put that in the description. But there's also charts, probably in my book here, Modern Worship Guitar Lessons. Just learning the notes on the neck. Let's see. Basically, if you know the strings, like this is, I do have a really cool chart like this, but if you know the strings, E, A, D, G, B, E, if you know the string names, then you can count down a half step, easily count down a half step. So E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So in a G chord, we're just talking about the G chord and moving the capo. So in a G chord, if you want to put the G chord, let's say I just put the capo on there, then when you play the G chord, then it's not a G chord anymore. It's actually all the way up here. It's like, this would be the 7th fret. So if you count up E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, then it would actually be a B. Okay, so a lot of people play in the key of B or key of B flat. So if you wanted to do that, you could just put your capo on 3. Capo B flat. And I have like a really cool secret, like an easy secret way to tell where the like if they say, hey, we're playing in B flat, how you can count back. So and make it there. But this little conversation is just about how to understand what the G chord is if you move it around. So you first have to understand that the G chord's root is that top 2nd finger. So wherever I put that finger is going to be the root of the G, and that's going to give the G its name. So it's a G shape. If you play it in G, it's a G shape. But if you move it up a half step, now it's a G sharp or an A flat. So you put your capo on 1 fret up, then you got a G sharp chord. So that's the easiest way to kind of put that concept in your brain. If it's a G, it's G. If you move it up a half step, now it's a G sharp. So this would be the G sharp, key of G sharp, or A flat. So if they're playing in a normal common, if you wanted to make the B flat, then you would you find where the B flat is. So it'd be E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. A sharp and B flat are the same. So it'd be, you want your G to be formed here. So you form it right there, and then you put your capo on behind it. It's probably like on the 3rd fret. And all this kind of bends your brain. But now you're in B flat. So if you're playing G, C, E minor, D, you're really playing in the key of B flat now. So it's no longer a G chord. This one is using, it looks like a G chord, but it's a B flat. So like I would never play bar chords or power chords in a worship band if the piano player's picking music and they're in B flat. I'd never do that. I always use a capo, and I see guys at my church. I go to a fairly large church now. I kind of watching their gig. They're using all capos, and even guys on big stages on TV, you can see them using a capo instead of playing B flat. So play those bar chords and power chords. You know, number one, there's your B flat. I think it just sounds better. Much more open, and you can do all your tricks and everything. You can't do any of that without the capo trying to use a bar chord. I mean, you can. So I don't really. A lot of times when I've used a capo in music circles in the past, people will say, "Oh, you're cheating," or people kind of have this attitude about the capo that it's some kind of, at least seems like they have this attitude like, "Oh, you're not really playing, you don't really know your chords," and then, you know, I don't know, 10 years ago I just realized, who cares what they think? The capo sounds better and it's easier, especially if you're leading worship and you're on the worship stage. The capo is just much easier to play with, and you can just play the same 3 or 4 chords, and you can move them around. You can play with the band in B flat and get all the nice voicings. In fact, the last thing I'll tell you is when I'm playing in C, so if you want to do C, then you'd count up E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. You'd make your G chord here with the root note on a C note, which is actually the 8th fret. And you put your capo on the, what is that, 5th fret. And some songs just sound better to me if I'm even in the key of C up here. Sometimes it just sounds better to me to play in the D. It's got a much higher tone to it, so you can play. So anytime I play the G here, it's actually a C. And I don't want to get too technical with this. I want you to hear the difference and kind of understand at least how to count up. If the band was saying, let's say you know your 4 chords, G, C, E minor, D, and your band, you get there and you look at the music and it's all like B flat, F, and you say, hey, what key are we in? And they said, oh, we're in B flat. So you wanted your G to be the B flat. You wanted your G, which is usually our 1 chord, to be the B flat. Then you would count E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and you go back to B flat, so put your G there, put your capo on 3, okay? Now, and sometimes, like, it helps to know the number system if you do that, because then you can, like, count up, you can, like, learn to look at the chords, and I talk a lot about that in my book, Transpose and Play, and it's on the website, worshiptheking.com. Transpose and Play, it shows you how to do all, somebody's leaving a message or something. I can't really read the messages. I'll read them when I get done. But Transpose and Play is my book. It's an ebook from worshiptheking.com, and it shows you all of these charts, all the different keys. So if you were really kind of like thinking, yeah, I need to play in all these, you know, it's a big deal if you're playing with a band and they're throwing charts at you that have B flats and any that's the one they use a lot, D flat, all flat chords, or I just throw all that away and I start writing numbers in over the chords and then put a capo on. In real short order, you can sound really good without any struggle from all those super hard chords. So this would be B flat. Your E minor is now a G minor. So in B, key of B flat, B, C, D, E, so E flat. So your C chord is now your E flat. So you can you'll just learn kind of quickly how to translate that. So when you see B flat to E flat, B flat to E flat, B, C, D, E, F, F is your 5 chord. You see the F chord, that would be your D chord, is your 5 shape, and you know that'd be an F. So you can easily play. Now, it probably could have, that kind of stuff loses you, and it loses even me when you try to think of it. But if you look at Transpose and Play, my ebook, or if you just sort of start to look at the shapes, and I'll work on some more live videos if you want. Let me know in the comments if you have questions, how your brains are working on this, but that you're looking at your chord shapes being like the 1, the 4, the 5, and the 6 minor. So 1 is G, 4 is C, 5 is D. And if you transpose that in your head when you're looking at the chart, or if you even write the numbers in, like I do in Transpose and Play, I show you how to do this step by step, writing the numbers in over the B flat, the E flat, and then you just learn to read what they call the Nashville number system, or really even just any basic, it's the number system, but it's made famous for pop players and country and all that, called the Nashville number system. But it also, like when I studied in college, classical theory, they use it, it's the Roman numerals, or so it's not really Nashville, they didn't make it up, they just used it. So now you have B flat sounding really good. So this would, let me just show you, if you're in B flat, you got it on the 3rd fret, this would be B flat, E flat, your C shape is now E flat, G minor, which is, you know, your 6th chord, would be E minor shape, would be G minor, and your D chord would be your F, B, C, D, E, F, the 5. Back to the 1 chord, which would be a B flat, E flat, which is your C shape, G minor, which is your E minor, F, which is your D shape. So you can see you don't have to learn all those B flat, G minor. Those are bar chords, power chord shapes that you're not going to know as a beginner or even want to play as a professional. That's why the capo, which it's a genius invention for us. You can move it all around. Last thing is, sometimes you get too high if you wanted to play up here, you know. As you move up the neck, depending on how nice your guitar is, the capo, sometimes the intonation of your guitar gets off. So you can put your capo on. You notice it sounds a little bit out of tune. So I like to put it right as close to the frets as I can there. As close to the front of the fret that I'm in, just like when we push down. And for some reason, this guitar, the intonation is terrible right now. Maybe the weather or whatever it is. But what I do is I retune. Sometimes with that note on there, so I just listen to that myself. And then you can pick up the capo, put it back down. It still sounds a little sharp. So you can kind of retweak your tuning by ear, or even with a tuner if you have a nice chromatic, when you get the capo on there. I like the tones. I usually, when I'm playing by myself or just chilling, I put the capo on kind of high and I do these things, you know. So what is that? This is now way down there on the keyboard. It's actually in D flat, so this would be D flat, this would be D flat, so you're in D flat now. playing a G chord. So if you wanted to play in the key of D flat, you know, there's nothing worth more could ever come close, nothing can compare, our living hope. That's kind of low, but your presence, Lord. So you can go along with that. There's nothing worth more to ever come close, nothing can compare, our living hope. Your presence, Lord. Change the chart there because I actually got ahead of myself. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. So that's one thing. The other thing I use the capo for, like, that's kind of low for me. This song, I think, I'm not sure the original key at this point because I've moved it around so much, but it's, I teach it in the 30-day challenge in the key of D. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts... It seems a little low for me, so all you do is you take the capo, if you're a vocalist, move it up 2 or 3. I just move it up 1 at a time, but I know that this for me is going to probably be more like 3. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. And if you think, well, that's okay, but I want a little higher, you can keep going. 3, 4, you can put it on there. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome with your presence, Lord. You think, oh no, I want this to be a little more, higher you go. You can just keep moving around until you get to the right place. That's how I would do it if you're not with a band. You can just kind of move it around, using the same easy chords. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. And I wouldn't do it this high. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. But if you wanted to get a little grit in your voice and you want to be high, you can move it. That's how I use the capo when I'm leading worship. If it's by myself and it's going to be early morning, I might take the capo off. If it's second or third service or in the afternoon, I might put it on capo 2 or 3, and I just make notation on my charts too. So I guess this is getting beyond what I was talking about. It's more practical for how you're going to use your capo. So if you want to use it there, let's do our music theory one last time before I go tonight. If you want to, if you're playing in the key of D, D, G, E minor, A, D. This is the key of D, this Holy Spirit. So you're in D. If you put the capo on 1 and move the chord up one, now you're in D sharp, or which would be A, B, C, D, E flat. So, Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome. Now you're playing an E flat, but you have really simple chords. If you move it up 1 more, you're actually playing an E. So instead of using the chords of E, which I don't like personally, these E chords, you could go, Holy Spirit, you are welcome. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. What's that? Yeah, E. So atmosphere. C, it's a 2 chord, so the atmosphere. So instead of doing that, I don't like all those chords and then you have to play the F. You can just put it on the 2nd fret. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. All of that, and if you really wanted to get up high, you can do it up here. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. So you can do all of that with the capo, moving it around, checking out different higher, lower, and then you can get the thing. So remember what I mentioned was transpose and play, or play, and I think that's what it's called, transpose and play. I changed the title a few times, but the book is on the website. I'll put the link in the description here after a while, and I'll write also out how you can count out the music theory part, because it's important to understand the capo. It's not just a random thing you're sticking on there when you're with a band. When you're by yourself, it's random, and you kind of put it where you want it to get the right feel. If you have any questions about the capo or the theory that I was talking about, put it in the comments, because I'm making about 3 live videos now a day, or at least for this week. I'm going to give it a try. So if you like that, I don't even know if you can give it a like, you give it a share. God bless you guys. See ya.